All right, welcome in everybody to a live episode of All Things NBA from A to Z. I'm Kris Pursiainen here alongside Zak Noble. As always, ready, excited to bring you some live NBA analysis tonight, coming off the back of Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals in 2025. And we've talked about this a good amount already on my page, but the four players left, right? We've got Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Halliburton, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Anthony Edwards as the leading lads of the four teams remaining. And it's a guards world right now. So very interesting to see what both of these conference finals are going to look like over the course of the series. But we've got Zak here, known Timberwolves fan. So game one result, talk to me about what you saw out there, Zak. The final score, 114-88. The Minnesota Timberwolves with an 18-point third quarter. What happened?
It was like one of those 50% type of games. We come out looking hot, getting high and mighty. It was a feel out game for us, and you hate that we've been to a conference finals and got destroyed last year, and should realize that. Western Conference is too good. We're too young to have feel out games. We're not experienced. We're not a multiple time champion like LeBron, where he can go get it done after feel out games. I don't think the Wolves are a team that can afford games like this. Anthony Edwards looked terrible all from the beginning. And he went on a couple scoring stretches throughout, but Julius Randle was the best player in the game first half. We should have been up 10 plus at halftime, and then we shit the bed in the third quarter, and it gets ugly. Wolves had a chance in the fourth, though. I would say this: if Finch actually
it felt like there was a collapse. It didn't feel like OKC just ran away with it. It felt like there was a collapse.
Yeah, but it was a 7-point game, and Finch doesn't put Ant in, and then it gets to 16 really quick. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, when you're at that 7 to 10 point mark against a great team like this, and the Wolves are known for, like, we're not a comeback team. They're a front running team. They're especially when guys just look at the shooting percentages. The
So
Wolves
the threes, we know.
made 13.
Yeah, go for it.
Discrepancy was terrible. They made 13 through 3 quarters, while the Thunder only took 13, and the Wolves ended up taking 51 on the game, shooting 29 from 3. And it just goes to show that the pace was just absolutely controlled.
Sure.
27 to 18 assists. Thunder looked like a polished team, playing for each other. Well, the Wolves, didn't come out ready. It was a complete
I think
feel
they
out
did.
game.
They came out ready. I'll
No,
push
we just
back
had
there.
some shots. We hit
It was
some shots.
That's how you win basketball games. You take
Julie,
them and you make them. Listen, the Thunder, with 45 seconds left in the first half, going all the way to 3 minutes plus into the second half, the Thunder went on a 16-5 run. So you got a little bit of separation because Minnesota was up by 3 at the end of the first. They outscored the Thunder in the second quarter itself, be up by 4 at halftime, right? But the Thunder go on this run, and about a minute, 2 minutes go by of back and forth basketball, and then they do it again. From 7 minutes left in the third quarter to 2 minutes left in the third quarter, the Thunder went on a 17-2 run. This is what they do. This is what the Oklahoma City Thunder do. You talk about the Cavalanche that they spent $500K on fake snow to use it one time all playoffs. Listen, the OKC, if they had a Cavalanche machine, it'd be snow every 8 minutes coming out of the, like, this is what they do. They pummel you and they pounce you. And you take a look at ESPN research came out with this. It was, let me credit the guy himself, Matt Williams with ESPN research. Minnesota 11 for 39 on 3-point shots
he's
that were
good.
classified as open. 11 for 39 on 3-point shots that were classified as open. The Oklahoma City Thunder went 10 of 16 without singling out a Dante DiVincenzo or a Naz Reid or a Nickeil Alexander Walker. The three of them together combined to go 4 for 24 on open threes. So, Zach, I turn it back to you to ask this. Was this game as simple as the Wolves didn't make their open threes and the Thunder made all of theirs? Or are there structural issues at play? You mentioned Finch and his rotations. Talk about that.
I don't think the rotation was bad really till the fourth quarter. I was fine with who he was playing up until then, just not getting Anton quick enough in the fourth quarter when the game was about to get out of hand. And I think coaches do that a lot. I mean, in the playoffs especially, it happened to Steph Curry a time or two. And it's just, you're on that brink, that 7 to 10 point where you put your star in, they can get you back in the game, or you put them in a little too late and the game's over. It's that little stretch there where the Wolves were rested coming into this game. The Thunder were not. It's like, go get a winnable game. They played excellent defense on Shea in the first half. That was the biggest highlight besides Julius Randle's play. But the coverage on him, and then forcing Alex Caruso to do way too much, and then they were forcing turnovers, and then they were even stopping some of the fast breaks the Thunder have. I think we stopped 3 of them at the rim, which is very rare, and it wasn't going to continue to happen. So you got to take advantage of that. And I hate doing the 3-point thing with the Wolves because they haven't been great in the playoffs, period, 3-point shooting wise. Naz Reid and Dante haven't done a whole lot, period. So, I mean, it's tough, man. I just think Thunder, that was a good game from them. That wasn't even an excellent game. I think shooting wise, I mean, Shea can shoot a little better. Alex Caruso can even do more. Chet can do more. It was a good Jalen Williams game. But just all around solid team basketball from the Thunder. And the Wolves, I mean, another bad start to a conference finals for Ant. Like after last year, it's like you give him a pass for the first go around, and now is the time. This team's good enough. We'll see. Wolves in 7.
It's tough,
kidding.
man, right? Because
Thunder in 6.
Ant is 23, Shea is 26. Shea had a big failure last year, and it wasn't necessarily his fault, but you saw the Thunder not be able to sustain the minutes without him, and it led to a really uphill battle for him. Jalen Brunson dealt with the exact same thing in the Eastern Conference. The Knicks lost games in the minutes that Brunson wasn't on the court, and as much as the two teams would love this, you can't just clone your superstar and have him out there for 48 minutes, always with fresh legs. So it does become a bit of a push and pull. I will say that when it comes to the Thunder, now with Chet healthy and with Caruso and with the jumps that guys like Joe Wiggins, Kenrich Williams have taken, you're able to see a team that can sustain the minutes without Shea on the floor, even against a deep team like Minnesota. But for the Timberwolves, I do think they need to look at the positions they're putting their players in, because we've yet to even really say the name Julius Randle. I mean, we can talk about the game he had tonight and wax some poetic.
I started with him. What are you talking about?
I'm saying I haven't. I haven't said his name once. The guy had 28 and 8, 5 of 6 from 3, 9 of 13 from the floor. But it also felt a little bit like in that third quarter, he was a -10 in his minutes in the third quarter. He took one shot, he didn't make it. It wasn't a 3. He played 8 minutes in the third quarter and took one shot. And then all of a sudden you see first quarter, he's 2 of 4. Second quarter, he's 4 of 4. Fourth quarter, he's 3 of 4. So how can the Timberwolves balance that better to avoid these third quarters of doom? Because it's not like Randall didn't play in the third quarter and that's why he didn't score. He played 8 minutes out of the 12. He just took one shot. How can the Wolves get him in better positions to succeed? It feels like either there's too much Randall and they're having him dribble, they're having him make decisions. He turns the ball over, which, tonight he was not amazing with regard to turnovers. He had 5 of them, and 1 of them in the first quarter, 2 in the second, and 2 in the fourth quarter. So, it's not like they all came in the third quarter of doom. There was just a general lack of involvement compared to the other quarters. Meanwhile, you look at Edwards in that third quarter, he also had 0 turnovers. He had 2 fouls. He was a minus 15 in his minutes. Like, what can Minnesota do to keep themselves afloat in these third quarters? How did they come out of the second half stronger?
It comes down to the OKC is a polished team. The Wolves, in order to compete with a team like this, they have to. It's strength in numbers, and it's not just relying on 1 to 2 guys and Ant and Julius Randle. I mean, they got to get back to team ball. Yes, I mean the Wolves have been able to survive the first 2 series playing like this, but I mean, in order to beat a great team like this that is deep and has star talent, you got to be able to do the same thing. I mean, the Wolves can be a deep team. The Wolves do have star power. It's just
Well, no, it's like it's pregnancy.
it's
You're either
rare.
deep or you're not. You can't. You're deep or you're not. Right? Like you're deep or you're not. I
I've
think
never
the Wolves are
trusted the
deep.
consistency of this team's ball movement. I've trusted the players and the talent that this team has, but it's when running into a team like this and just watching how they played in the game 1, um, going away from Rudy Gobert, that kind of drove me a little nuts. I mean, I think he needs to play a lot more. He only played 21 minutes, and I think 15 of them came in the first half. Uh,
You think he helps on
Nas
the
wasn't
glass
doing
to an
anything.
extent where they just got to play him? Like, you take a look at offensive
Yeah,
rebounding
and just
percentage.
like
The Timberwolves are second out of all 16 playoff teams so far, and the Thunder are not in the top 11. Um, it's interesting, right? Like, the Timberwolves play good ball, but are they getting enough? You said you don't
I
trust
think
the
there's
consistency of the ball movement. They're fourth out of the 16 playoff teams in assist ratio, which is how many assists they have per 100 possessions. So on the surface level, it looks fine. But when you say the consistency, you mean game in, game out, which that stat doesn't really cover at all. Do you feel like Ant is too
right.
young to be the primary on a team, and that's why there's a lack of consistency? Or do you feel like the team isn't built to be consistent? Is there too much on the shoulders of a 23-year-old? Or are the Timberwolves just not enough for the? Are we overanalyzing the T-Wolves because the Thunder are just so good?
The Thunder are a polished team. The Timberwolves are still a team of individuals. Yes, I've always agreed Ant can't be the primary playmaker. I've said this nonstop forever. I wanted Dillingham to get more minutes throughout the year, but we obviously didn't see that. I wanted more out of Dante. We're not getting that. Mike Conley, when Mike Conley's rolling, yes, things are a lot better. Things are a lot better, but I mean, we can't rely on that guy that old, and he doesn't have it. I don't think he has it in him anymore. But uh, yeah, I mean, if you look back at last year's conference finals, Derek Lively and Gafford feasted, and I truly want to say it was also when Rudy Gobert wasn't in the game. Like tonight, Chet and Hartenstein, they dominated down low. They both had big presences down low, and Hart, he probably caught, what was it, 4 or 5 lobs. Um, and I wish I had the numbers if they were on Gobert or not. I don't think they were on Gobert. He's got to be. He's the guy that I think that can make a difference because I mean our defense in the first couple quarters were great. I mean unless I blacked out and he wasn't a big part of that, I want to say he was because I know we went away from him in the second half.
I hear you. It feels it. I feel like I know the Wolves can bounce back. I feel like I trust that they can, but the Thunder are a
They have the
force right
talent.
now. Yeah, they do, but the Thunder are a force. There's something I think we should litigate. I think there's something we should talk about, which is Shea's free throws. They're such a topic of discussion. You got Doris Burke calling him a free throw merchant, thinking it's a
I
good
heard that.
thing on national television. So that's brutal. What do you make of the way he's officiated? Like Caitlin Cooper, who is of eminent
She's a goat.
knowledge and expertise says Shai Gilgeous-Alexander gets officiated differently than everyone else in the NBA because he moves differently than everyone else in the NBA. And listen, I get it. It also does feel like two things can be true. And while, yes, he puts himself in a position to get a lot of whistles that other players physically cannot get, and that he is skilled at drawing fouls, it also does feel like sometimes the benefit of the doubt goes a little far. Is that just how things are with dominant athletes in sports in general? Like, we have this conversation about the Chiefs and the Patriots and about LeBron and Curry and Giannis, or is Shai just getting a little too much
Listen,
love from
I'm not
the
an
third team?
you can call me not a real NBA fan if I don't hate Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or Jalen Brunson, because I don't hate them. I actually like them both a lot. But we're going to focus on Shai here. And yes, he's very long. He's a very abnormal point guard. He moves completely different than many all-time great point guards we've seen. However, yes, he can foul bait like the best of them, like we've never seen. But here's the thing. This is why I'm okay with it. I mean, he's learned to take advantage of it. It is what it is. You got to deal with it. Our team just wasn't good enough. That's not why we lost the game tonight as Timberwolves. But he only does the flopping, the foul baiting 3 or 4 times a game, and that's what sticks out to fans and why people hate him. And the negative stuff always sticks out in life and in sport, and people just focus on those things. And I personally love his all-around game. I think he's a great two-way player. I think he's a great dude. I think he's got the whole package, and I'm able to separate those things, and I understand how people don't, because those things do really stick out and they get really annoying. I mean, they're very, very obvious. There was a couple times he didn't even get touched and he gets those calls, and it's an abstract
Yeah, like, but that
piece
it
of
also
art, whatever
it
you want to.
happens with every superstar though, that like they get the benefit of the doubt. I think there's
They
something to
learn
the
how to play the
complaints.
game.
The last thing I want to see is the I guess you can call it like the grandstanding wars over people who like don't even really care about the free throws, just having an opinion of like he gets them because he deserves them, or well,
Yeah, he doesn't
you
deserve them
guys,
all.
if you guys complain this much about them, then well, why do you watch the game? Or like, it's like, can we not turn everything into think pieces? Like, listen, two things can be true. The guy deserves more foul calls than a lot of other players because of the nature of his style of play, his athleticism, his talent, his skill, and the way that he drives to the rim. It can also be true that maybe the guy gets a couple calls too many, and it does demoralize the other team defensively to an extent where they feel like they can't guard the guy. We saw that with James Harden in his heyday, with guys defending him with their hands clasped behind
Oh,
their backs.
Curry and Chris Paul are up there too. The difference is, I mean,
Yeah,
they can they have so much skill, and I mean, people have seen them long enough, and maybe it will change with Shea. But like, part of me with Shea is it is a huge part of his game. I mean, and he's not like the difference. Like with Harden, he was at least an elite passer, an elite rebounder. Uh, a way better shooter than Shea, you can say. But I mean, yeah, Harden's hooking, that was the annoying thing about him. Steph, the way he sticks out his foot, super annoying. Chris Paul does it all, but he's small and kind of has to. I mean, or to be that dude. Like that's what makes some of those small guys relevant and
yeah,
amazing. Like
yeah,
Jalen Brunson, like I wouldn't blame him at where Shea doesn't need to do those things. He doesn't need to do those things.
yeah.
He
I get
doesn't.
that. I
But
get that.
at the
I
same
also
time,
think,
you want to win a scoring title? That's kind
yeah,
of what it takes.
yeah. No, I hear you. All right,
There's
so
not a scoring title ever that didn't have a ton of free throws.
in summation on game one, The Thunder are the better team. The Thunder are the better team. The Timberwolves can bounce back. They need to make their shots. They need to make their open shots, and they need to keep fighting to get good shots on every play. Don't let the Thunder or their foul calls or anything about them demoralize you to the point where you're not looking for the best shot you can get, because it did feel a little bit like they gave in at the end. And that's the nature of playing every 2 days. That's the nature of the scheduling in the postseason, but you're one of the last four standing. You've got to rise above that. Zach, you said Thunder in 6. I want to say I liked the Timberwolves in 7 before the series started, but I think Thunder in 7 remains my pick. I like this Minnesota team. I think that you guys will push this Thunder team to the brink. I just also think this Thunder team has both the math, the talent, and the calls as not the real reason, the little cherry on top of why there's a tiebreaker. So with that said, Zach, let's get to the other conference, man. Let me hit that Knicks-Pacers ECF preview button. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you. We appreciate you. Leave a comment down below. We will get to Q&A. We will answer any questions you guys ask. If you are watching on Twitter, salute. We appreciate you. Hit that retweet button if you want to share it with some friends, or hop over onto YouTube where you can leave comments and we'll respond to them. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. We kind of just hopped right into things here. Didn't do much of an intro. Our first 2025 playoff live stream. I want to do these a lot through the rest of the playoffs. So with all that said, instead of talking about what we're going to talk about, let's just get to talking about it. Knicks-Pacers, Eastern Conference Finals. Zach, I feel a little bit like the Knicks are a great team that play good basketball, and the Pacers are a good team that play great basketball. You get what I mean by that?
I do. Yeah, it made a lot of sense to me.
You agree?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
So why?
That's perfect. The Knicks got everything to me. You know, they got everything to me besides, I mean, an answer when the team does a hack a Mitch. They don't really have an answer for that one. And I hope the Pacers don't do that, but Rick Carlisle, I think, could be a little petty, and I could see him rolling that out and then forcing Cat to do more than he wants to or more than he's ready for, and get frustrated and foul trouble and take Cat out of the game. And I think he needs Mitch just like he needed Rudy Gobert to be great. I think that's going to be the main telltale, but like, just like the Thunder, they don't need anybody to be great for 4 out of 7 games. They really don't. They just need guys to have 2 good quarters here and there, because they got enough talent and they got the guys to do it. That's why I really like the Knicks in this series. I like the Knicks to have as good of a shot as the Thunder to win this thing. I really like this Knicks team. Really believe that Cat's going to only get better as this team grows, because I think the Knicks are actually getting better throughout the game. Like the Thunder, to me, haven't gotten better. They're just the same team they've been all season, which is a very good team. I think the Knicks are actually getting a little better, and they have a lot more room to go.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I would say the way to back up what I said is something like the Knicks have yet to find a way to play consistently like they are more than the sum of their parts. And the Pacers seem to consistently play like more than the sum of their parts, which is how they're once again one of the final 4 teams standing in the entire NBA. You got to give credit to this Pacers group. They're tough. They are kind of like serial underdogs. I feel like they could be 8-point favorites in every game of a series, and they'd be like, no one believed in us. You know, we have to believe in us because no one else will. Good. That's not corny. That's psychopathic. And that's awesome because that's how winners operate. Winners make up any reason to feel like an underdog, to feel like people don't believe in them, to feel like they have a chip on their shoulder. So I don't want to hear the corny talk. I know there's a lot of cornfields in Indiana, but we don't have to call the team corny for operating how winning teams do. Give yourself whiteboard material when people won't give it to you. Give yourself whiteboard material when people are giving it to you. Just always motivate yourself further. Never view yourself as a finished product. All the motivational platitudes that I can throw out there. But with all of that said, it does feel like they have some structural deficiencies that the Knicks can exploit. And what I mean by that is the Pacers have point of attack defense, they have rim protection, and they have perimeter defense. But I'm not sure of the extent to which they can have all three at once. Because if you have Nembhard, Nesmith, and Turner on the floor, you've set up a pillar of each of those three, right? But are Halliburton and Mathurin out there drowning? Are McConnell and are McConnell and Toppin out there drowning? Like it's interesting to me to see that Karl Anthony Towns had so much success against the Pacers in the regular season, because as much as they like to play fast, anytime things got mucked up offensively for the Knicks, like someone just shakes loose. And that's all it takes. Playoffs, court shrinks, game slows down. Every turnover, every shot, every make, every miss matters more. The Knicks being able to thrive playing at a slow pace is important for that. The Pacers being able to thrive playing at a high pace is important for that. Which one do you see kind of winning out? This feels like unstoppable force and immovable object here between the Knicks offense that scored 140 points in back-to-back games in the regular season and the Knicks defensive lineups with McBride and Robinson going up against this Pacers team that just feels like the little engine that could, just always scoring, always finding ways to get the ball in the basket, whether it's pick and roll, whether it's Siakam isolation, whether it's Nembhard or Turner getting left open. Which style of play do you see winning out? How do forget thinking about who's going to win each game or the series? Just talk to me about what style of play you see being dominant in this series, because style makes a fighter, right? Or however that saying goes. So uh styles make fights, something like that. I don't know, it's for whatever. I'm 23, but
It's late. Yeah.
yeah, what do you think? Who do you think influences the style of play more in this series?
Listen, I mean, the Pacers have been a lot more polished, you can say, as a team, as a unit, but that ceiling definitely isn't as high as the Knicks, like you were saying. But I'm not counting the Pacers out because they've been so dominant. They've gone against. Yes, they've definitely dodged some injuries, and um, do I think they probably would have lost to the Cavs if the Cavs were fully healthy? It's close. I would want to lean towards the Cavs if so, but the Pacers are just playing too good regardless. So I don't want to diminish that either. Uh, I've these I'm one of the biggest naysayers of the Pacers over the last couple of years, and they just keep surprising me. And I love Pascal Siakam. I'm a huge believer in, honestly, mostly everybody on the team besides Halliburton being the engine, being the number one guy on a team that keeps going this far. That's kind of the biggest hurdle for me to get over mentally. Yes, he's clutch. He's a gamer, and it makes sense to me. And it's really hard for me to compare this to any team in the past, because that's what I like doing when it comes to the conference finals and finals. It's like, how have other teams gotten there before? Does it make sense? Are they good enough? Does this team compare? And I mean, when you watch them play, yeah, but on paper, it's just really hard for me to overcome that hurdle. Uh, I don't know, man. I just want them, I guess, to keep surprising me, because it's a fun team to watch. Okay, their play style is great. Uh, different different guys, and I mean, it's fast. It's lightning. It's great, but like, I just think the Knicks are a two-way team that's too talented. It's hard for me to fully trust the Pacers defense when it matters. Um, yeah, it's hard for me to overcome my past biases against them too. So I mean,
I
if they're
get
gonna
it.
beat this Knicks team, yeah, I'll believe they can beat the Thunder too. I'll tell you that. But I'm not picking them in either series. Absolutely not. I've been saying consistently, like I going into the game one tonight, I thought all three teams could win besides the Pacers, the finals. I thought it was that.
Wow. So you think
Yeah.
the Wolves would outsize Indiana and the Thunder would outshoot them, and that they just don't match up well against either of the Western
Yeah,
teams?
I've thought talent wise and at their peak, all three teams were very close. It's just consistency wise, the Thunder are far and above all year. But do I think at the Wolves' peak that they're as good as either? Yes, absolutely. It's just, are we going to see that? Who knows? The Pacers, I don't think they have the same peak, but their consistency's been
So that's the thing, right? Is like
right.
Indiana, that's exactly it. You just like honed it down. Indiana can get on some scoring runs. They can get explosive. They'll go on a 12-3 run, and then Obi Toppin will cap it off with an East Bay fast break dunk, and you got to call timeout, and you feel deflated. The thing to me with Indiana is, can they hold that up over a 48-minute playoff game 4 times out of 7? Like, obviously, yes, because they've won 2 series already, and they're coming to, to try and win a third. But can they do it against a team with the talent that the Knicks have? So, I want to get to some comments. I want to start involving y'all in the conversation. Start out.
Nice.
Costa says, "Good evening, fellas. So, what's up? How you doing? Good to see you." Dirty Dancer finals going to be super orange and blue.
My
That's a
hat's
dual. That's
probably
a
saying it right here.
hey, that's a dual prediction there from DD.
There you go.
He jokes that the Pacers are super good at getting other teams injured. Well, listen, if you want to say that that's true, which I'm not, then you would theoretically also have to acknowledge that the Pacers' ability to play fast and sustain that pace, no pun intended, is a factor in that. So, whatever. And one more from DD. Knicks seemed so much better last year before injuries. To pick them
No.
this year, you have to think Towns is incredibly destructive. Well, Zach, last year the Knicks were without Bojan Bogdanovic and Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle for pretty much the entirety of the series. Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart and OG Anunoby, the three of them got nicked up to various extents at different points in the season. I think it's unfair to Indiana to say they only won because the Knicks kept getting hurt. I also think it's unfair to the Knicks to just say, well, the Pacers beat them last year and now they have Mathurin back. It's like, well, okay, it's also an entirely different Knicks team. I think Mikal Bridges is a key here. I think Mikal Bridges is a key to this series because last year we talked a lot in the first round with regard to the New York Knicks about how OG Anunoby is such a destructive defender, but his Achilles heel is quick guards with high three-point volumes like Tyrese Maxey. Well, Tyrese Halliburton gave OG Anunoby some of those same issues. And even though Tyrese Halliburton wasn't someone who averaged 28 points a game or even 24 in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Knicks, I think he averaged 18 or 20. That's not the point. The point is the Pacers won more games than New York did and moved on to the next round while the Knicks didn't. The point is that the Knicks did not have somebody capable and lanky enough and staminatic, having the stamina. I know staminatic is not a word, but I think it should be. The
Yeah, I was
Knicks
gonna
now
say
have someone
it sounds great, but
staminatic enough, lanky enough, defensively
I like that word. But that
instinctual
ain't a word.
to an extent. You know what the word is for stamina? It's indefatigable.
There's another
Indefatigable.
amazing word. Wow.
That's the word because fatigue, fatigable, indefatigable. It means you
Is
don't
that
get
a word?
fatigued.
I need to
It
look
is
that one up.
100% a word. It is 100. I learned that
Alright.
word in the 2nd grade reading a book about Thomas Jefferson. You think my boy TJ and I don't go back like that? Oh, man. But that said, because no one can go on a tangent like me. Yeah, I think Mikal Bridges is kind of like the worst kept secret defensive weapon for the Knicks against the Pacers. I think he can chase Halliburton around to an extent where the Knicks can kind of say, okay, Pascal Siakam, we play Karl Anthony Towns at center. This isn't an impossible task. But for your team to score, you have to beat us. We're gonna squeeze Hallie out of the equation and try and deny him the ball and make
Cat's
it so
not going to
that
be guarding Pascal. No way.
he'll be guarding Turner to start, I would think.
Yeah.
Right. My
Better
point
be.
is, with a center on the floor that is Karl Anthony Towns, you would think that the Pacers are going to be able to score some points. They're going to be able to get the round orange thing to go in the other round orange thing. The point is that without Halliburton's connective tissue, without Halliburton's ability to grease the wheels, the 48 minutes of WD-40 that Halliburton is for any NBA team's offense, if the Knicks can stifle that, if they can suppress that impact, I think that a Nembhard and Siakam-led offense against a defense with Brunson and Towns as the weak links, I think that's a little more palatable for New York. So yeah, when it comes to how the Pacers will score, I think the Knicks do have the personnel to make it hard on them. Dirty Dancer says the real KP on New York. Listen, the realest KP of New York of the last decade is Kenny Payne. And
you've been saying that.
I'll stand by that. I won't. I'm not the realest KP yet. Kenny Payne, man, a key coach on a Knick team that came back from the depths of darkness to make the 4th seed. Got to give him some credit. Nathaniel Isaac says Thunder are the uncrowned champs and that he is not predicting, guaranteeing a Thunder championship.
What
Zach,
percentage
too early?
would you give him?
Yeah. For me, if you want to start with 25 across the board and then we remove and whatever, I would say Knicks. I would say Thunder 35, Knicks 30, Pacers 18, and Wolves whatever's left. I think the Knicks. I think the Knicks have a good shot against the Pacers. I don't know that they have a great shot against the Thunder. The Knicks did not beat the Thunder once in the regular season, but they also lost to Boston 4 times and beat them in a best-of-7 series. So it is tough. But yeah, Dirty Dancer says Nathaniel is jinxing the series outcome. Nathaniel says he's not jinxing anything because he guaranteed Game 7, and he was right about that too. So we will see. But when it comes to this Eastern Conference Finals, and continue to leave your comments, it is really great to hear from y'all, and I love seeing how many of y'all are tuned in. This is just Zach and I talking hoops on a Wednesday night. There are 329 of y'all watching live, so we really appreciate it. It's great to see y'all in here. And we'll have Al coming in as well. So whether it's just Al and I, whether it's just Zach and Al, whether it's the 3 of us together, we're trying to bring you guys playoff coverage out the wazoo, a place for you guys to come talk basketball, to give your takes, opinions, to have them spoken about. So yeah, that said,
maybe get an old Knicks player on.
hey now. With all that said, going into Game 1, Zach, what do you think the most important thing for the Knicks to do in Game 1 is? I would say it is to establish Karl Anthony Towns as a 3-point threat, because Rick Carlisle is no fool. And if he starts noticing in the first half of the game that Karl Anthony Towns is not looking like somebody who's going to be taking a lot of 3-pointers, even if he doesn't really scheme him out, yeah, I think that could prove to be a pretty big roadblock for the Knicks. You take a look at Cat over the course of the Celtics series, and all of this is with his hand injury in mind. Game 1 against the Celtics, we know that was a victory. Karl Anthony Towns took 1 3-pointer. He did not make it. Game 2 against the Celtics, we know that was a victory. Karl-Anthony Towns took 1 3-pointer and did not make it. Game 3 against the Celtics, we know that they got a game here. And the Knicks did not go up 3-0. Game 3 against the Celtics, Karl-Anthony Towns took 5 3-pointers and made one of them. Game 4 against the Celtics, a Knick victory that put them up 3-1 and effectively sealed the series. Karl-Anthony Towns took 3-pointers, yes, he did take 3-pointers. He took 3 of them to be specific, and out of those 3, he made none of them. The next game, 1 of 3 from downtown in the loss, and in the Game 6 win to seal the Knicks' first English is just beating my ass today. In the Game 6 win that sealed the Knicks' first conference finals appearance since before I was born, since the year 2000, Karl-Anthony Towns took 6 3-pointers and made one of them. So if the Knicks can establish Towns as someone that the Pacers need to scheme for defensively outside of the arc, if Towns can stop, and I do think it's Thibodeau that likes having Towns follow Brunson on his drives and crash the glass. It's got to stop, because if Brunson can turn around and kick out to an open Towns at the top of the key, well, it just changes the series for New York. Zach, what do you think the most important thing for the Knicks to establish in Game 1 is against these Indiana Pacers?
You had something different than me when you were focused on Cat, and then you brought in Brunson getting beat up at the end. That's kind of where I was going to go. But I think I don't want to see Brunson get beat up too quickly, too early. Just driving too much, too often. I'd like to see the Knicks try to force Halliburton into struggling, and I'd almost double team him and try to get Pascal Siakam shoot. I wouldn't leave Miles Turner wide open, because I believe he's a big swing guy. I think his shots mean more than others. I really do, and he tends to get open quite a bit. But I would try to make things really hard on Halliburton. I would force the thing in getting Pascal to take longer twos, and then Nemhard. I don't want him to get cooking either. I'd try to limit him and Turner, honestly, for the other guys. Like I'd try to really put this on Siakam, not around the rim, but out of the paint. That's kind of where my thoughts are at.
Dirty Dancer in the comments says Halliburton can continue getting up 8 shots a game. I'll be happy with that. Yeah,
That'd be
Halliburton
a dream.
feels offensively a little bit like the Pacers version of OG Anunoby, where Anunoby and Halliburton, with 5 seconds left on the shot clock, you give them the ball, they will impress you with the extent to which they can create for themselves in a pinch. But their point total does kind of come a little bit down to the extent to which the offense is flowing. So, like, if the offense is flowing great, Anunoby's cutting into open space, he's feasting out of the dunker spot, he's getting those open corner threes, and he's knocking them down. He's got 28 points, or he's got 23 points, or he's got 30 or 40, whatever, right? There's production to be enjoyed by Tom Thibodeau. On the other end, Tyrese Halliburton, whether the threes are falling or not can be the difference between a 40 and a 25-point night for him. But the 0 and the 15 in that, range, it comes down to the offense, the extent to which it's flowing, the extent to which the Pacers are creating. A shout out Gene Hackman, the creating the good shot. And I think getting the good shot is kind of the Pacers' ethos in these playoffs, is just working the defense down to a point where they're getting a shot that analytically, statistically, almost said I testically And that is going in a direction that none of us
You're
were
on one,
prepared
dude.
for. All right. Hey, now, with that said, off the eye test, off the stats, whatever it is, yeah, Hallie threes feel like they're worth 4 points sometimes. Nemhard threes feel like they're worth 5 points sometimes when he's shooting them from 35. The Knicks have to do what they can to make it as hard as
Dictate.
possible for the Pacers to get a good shot. And the way they can do that is with physical defense. Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson. You guys, honestly, are not the two I'm super worried about. Because in that Boston series, when Brunson was switched onto Tatum and Brown, he did not just carry his weight. He did not just hold up. He was good. Like, it wasn't like, oh, he's bad enough where the Knicks can survive it. He was holding up and doing well. All it takes is active hands and active feet and being willing to sacrifice your body. Brunson is great at that with drawing charges. You take a look at Karl Anthony Towns. He's someone who also on the defensive end, he just needs to try. And Bridges and Anunoby can kind of help out enough. There is a guy I do want to single out on the defensive end for the New York Knicks, and it's not in a negative way. It's in a I'm watching you a little extra way. That guy's Josh Hart. And there are two reasons for this. The first reason is that Josh gambles a lot on defense to an extent that I think is detrimental to the Knicks. I think that he needs to just play things straight up a little more often. He needs to stop getting lost off of his assignment, assuming that the wings on his team will fix it for him. I don't know. I don't want to assume his intentions. That's something that people need to be careful with in general with sports coverage. But it feels like the result is consistently the Knicks being a step behind on defense. And when I look back at the film and I follow the rush hour, okay, that car moved, so that car could move, so that car could, like, when you trail the defensive miscue back, it's not always Josh Hart. It does feel like it is the result of a Hart gamble that was unnecessary a little more often than you'd like. So, Josh Hart, my challenge for you, can you be, just enough? Can you be enough for the Knicks defensively with your consistent, insane effort that we know you bring to the table? Can you be enough for their defensive playmakers like Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby to be able to let just some of their skill set be the cherry on top instead of Spider-Man trying to, use his webs and stop the train from falling off the track? Like, it is difficult to put them in a situation where they're constantly making up for the defense being a step behind. It feels like the Knicks have a lot of defensive communication related issues. Those are not things that the conference finals will tolerate. The Pacers aren't going to turn the ball over every couple plays to keep the score close because you can't get it together on defense. They'll get out to a 40-20 start in one of these games because of their three-point shooting, and it will be on the New York Knicks to respond. They showed they could do it against the defending champions. But the defending champions aren't here now. The Indiana Pacers are. They're the other team from last year's Eastern Conference Finals. So regardless, you are going up against a team that knows that they've done this before. They happen to get the Pacers, a team that is, like I said earlier, number one in these playoffs so far in assist ratio. 21.3 assists per 100 possessions for the Pacers. They share the rock. They move it well. And they're very good at playing great basketball, even if they've just got a good lineup on the court. The Knicks starting lineup has played, I think, according to NBA.com, they were tied for the most possessions as a lineup with the Nuggets starting lineup. But now, after game 7, and you look at cleaning the glass, filters out garbage time, the Nuggets are definitely number one. The Nuggets starting five. The Knicks starting five plays the second most possessions of any, has played the second most possessions of any lineup out of the 16 teams that were in the playoffs at any point, the Knicks really ride that starting five, and they have not produced results that justify it. So yeah, Dirty Dancer addressing this directly, saying sometimes they hope for slight foul trouble to a couple of the starters to force the coach's hand into playing the bench players. And the reason that Dirty Dancer says
I
that
want to
is
say,
not because they think the bench players are better than the starters. It's because they think the Knicks' best personnel groupings consistently involve one or both of McBride and Robinson. Do you agree, Zach? And how do you feel about the Knicks starting lineup playing so many minutes, but kind of producing consistent mediocrity?
no, I agree to all of that. And yes, the defense is where I think the Knicks can honestly probably grow the most. It's if you'd asked me before the playoffs, like who should have the best defense throughout the playoffs, I would have said probably the Knicks, or at least be second to the Thunder. Now, of the remaining four teams, they're basically tied with defensive rating at 111 with the Pacers, and then you got the Thunder at 101 and the Wolves at 106. I think the Knicks should be there at 2 or 1. It's just they're gambling way too much, and it's not like a team with this skill level of players where they should be. I mean, they have the skill, they have the talent. Uh, it's just not one of those. It's not pretty to me yet, but I think it can get there. Um, it's not as fluid as where I'd like to be.
What do you think about Mitchell Robinson as a presence in general in this series? Like, we saw the extent to which he
I,
positively impacted games against the Celtics despite the hack of Mitch. And you brought this up earlier,
yeah,
but there were even some, runs of a Mitchell Robinson out there on the court where he was getting intentionally fouled and he was
yeah.
still a net positive on the court. So what do you make of him as a defensive weapon for the Knicks against the Pacers? Do you think that the Knicks will need him on the court to play their best basketball in this series? Or do you think that the best basketball the Knicks can play is going to get played by that starting five at some point?
I don't think they need him to win or do their best, but like I think he'll help absolutely. I mean, he gave really good minutes when the hack of Mitch wasn't in full force, and I prefer him to be out there, especially helping Cat and making his life easier. But I think you have to. Tibbs has got to know better when to pull him. I think it did hurt him at times. Um, you know, he was really helpful at times, and then he hurt him at times by slowing things down and just being a terrible free throw shooter and demoralizing the team a little bit. So it depends how the Pacers are going to treat it, and depends how good he is defensively. I don't expect anything from him offensively, but uh, there were some stretches he actually made some free throws too. So
He went
it
he
all
went 6
depends
for
on what you're
6
getting
and
out of
and
him.
hit the night night
But
amidst a
I
blowout loss. That was
yeah,
fun
that was nice.
for him.
I just wouldn't be tied to him. He would be a priority to me right off the bat, but I would be very uh, trigger happy with him. I'd get rid of him really easily, but I'd ride him until he's worthless, or till you don't need him.
I'd ride him till he's worthless. Zak Noble, the Socrates of our time. Yeah, no, I do I do get what you mean though. And I
This
do
is late, man. This is a late night.
I do get what you mean. And I do appreciate
Reminds me of
everyone
my
rocking
times
with us.
calling into Wolves After Dark.
I love it. I love it.
Those are the days.
Yeah, I mean, this is NBA After Dark here, almost 1 a.m. Eastern, midnight Central. If you're listening after on a replay of the live stream, we've got 358 NBA addicts live right now watching this live stream with us, rocking with us
Love
almost an
y'all.
hour in.
Appreciate you guys.
We love y'all. We appreciate it. any final questions that you want to get in? If you're watching on Twitter, run over to YouTube, look up All Things NBA from A to Z, and punch in your questions. We'll give you guys like a minute here to get in any final questions you want us to answer. But to finish things off from our perspective, Zach, how would you rank the 4 remaining teams? I want to say Thunder, Knicks, Timberwolves, Pacers. Maybe I did that a little too quickly. That's yours too?
That's exactly how I had it before this game 1 tonight, and it still is how I have it. I mean, after tonight, I'd probably put them in a tier 1 and tier 2. But
Thunder tier 1 on their own. Knicks.
No, Knicks in there with them.
Okay.
Yeah. Tier 1 and then tier 2 with the other bottom 2 teams right now. But Wolves, they didn't look great in game 1 last series. So
yeah. I mean,
we'll see if they can respond in game 2. If they can't, if they go down 0-2, the series is over for sure.
No,
but if they get game 2,
no. That's what hold up. That's what I was about to say. Is no, the hell it's not. The Wolves can lose both games in Oklahoma City and win the series. That is possible. That is possible.
Do you think these guys are that mentally tough? I don't believe in their mental strength like that.
I don't think people believed in the Pacers' mental strength last season. The Knicks started their series against the Pacers up 2-0. And who won that series in 7? So, you can't write a team off for losing both road games to start a series. Not everyone can be the New York Knicks and go on the road to the defending goddamn champ's house and
no Jason Tatum.
No, not everyone can do that.
I'm just kidding.
Not everyone can do that. I'll let your wayward comments fall on the ears that they're gonna fall on. But yeah. So with that said, no final comments in the chat, no final questions. So with that said, to all 368 of you, what up? Keep riding with us, keep rocking with us, because the same way that Zach thinks the Knicks should ride Mitchell Robinson until he's worthless, you should ride the All Things NBA from A to Z podcast until you think we're worthless. And the fact that you're still here 57 minutes in is a great compliment to us and is something that we don't take for granted. So for those of y'all that joined 2 minutes ago, thank you. For those of y'all that joined 58 minutes ago, thank you. It was great to have you all tonight. We plan to do this many more times over the course of the playoffs. Sometimes it might just be me, Kris Pursiainen, going live in the middle of the day, just talking NBA with y'all for a little bit, doing a question and answer. Sometimes it'll be a post-game show like this, but regardless, we have 4 really good basketball teams left, and there's going to be one standing. We're going to cover these playoffs to the very damn end. Stay tuned. Keep your eyes peeled for an article written by myself coming out soon about this Knicks-Pacers series, and stay tuned whether it's following myself or Zach on Twitter. How can I get our ads back up? There we go. Whether it's following myself or Zach on Twitter. There we go. Or Zach on Twitter for the 8th time. Or it's subscribing to the All Things NBA YouTube channel for free, hitting that notification bell for free, and just getting that little ping to your phone every time we go live. You don't have to watch, but at least you'll know we're live. There's no contract. You don't have to watch, but you'll know. You'll know that you could. And there's nothing better than options, as these last 4 teams standing have shown us. They have balanced rosters. They have options. They have scoring options. They have defensive options. They're deep teams, ready to rock. We're ready to rock. We're ready to talk playoffs with y'all to the very end. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it. Keep coming back, or don't. We won't make you, but we'll be here talking hoops, even if there's just one of you watching. That's enough for us. Be good. Have a great rest of your week. We'll probably see you before it ends again. We're here talking hoops on All Things NBA from A to Z, presented by Ball is Life. Thanks for tuning in, and see ya.